Hello. Don't know if you're at the tail end of that yawn or not. Another slow day, which was fine with me. Got up and attempted a run of Metroid Dread. And it just kept going wrong. Although I did get probably my easiest second jump on early grapple. I can't remember exactly what happened that I just... I think I was on my way back to Craig. Or Craig, as I've taken to calling him because it's funny. And just kept getting... No, I don't even think I made it to... I remember what it was now. I was on my way to bombs after grapple. And I got mixed up and lost and came out way too low. On the west side, or to the left of the map. And I kept getting cornered. Like, the enemy was just living in the room, like right outside or just inside its zone. And I just, like, I think at that point I was over a minute behind on just that split. And I just wasn't feeling it. That's gonna happen some days. So I went back to Breath of the Wild for a bit, and I wasn't really feeling that either. I played around a little bit, and I think this was more because, like, I attempted the first stage of Trial of the Sword. And did pretty good the first time. And I was doing really good the second time, and I'm pretty sure I was only one floor away from the last floor. And I just got killed by something stupid. Like, I'll admit I didn't have a lot of hearts at the time. I think I've got like 8 or 9. But, like, a single fire arrow really shouldn't have killed me. But it did. And that was like a good half hour down the drain, and I'm just like, I'm done with this too. So I started up Xenoblade again, Xenoblade Chronicles. And I think Xenoblade might have my favorite system for New Game Plus. Because it has an expert mode. But what the expert mode is you lowering your level. So if you get over leveled and you're not getting challenged, and you know, at the very least don't want to be insta killing everything, you can bring your level down to match the area. And since equipment's not level based, you don't really have to worry about that. So the other thing that this could be used for that I didn't really get privy to until playing the epilogue thing that came with the definitive edition is you can use it to power level. One of the problems with over leveling is past a certain point you flat out stop gaining experience points. Not just gaining less, gaining none. So one of the tricks is find an area with enemies you are good against and pull your level back to just below them. Enemies that are, that can be a bit ahead of you and you still can handle fairly easily. And by doing this, you will accumulate normal amounts of experience, even slightly higher if you can stand to be a good few levels lower than the enemy. Not too much, because there are cutoff points where you just can't damage an enemy if it's too high a level. But then you can, or maybe in a pinch, even rotate your parties as far as find an enemy that you're good at killing with one person and then jacking everyone else's level way, way, way down and letting them power gain experience that way. And then you can retroactively apply that experience and level them up well past where they were before. I used that to great effect to finish the bonus chapter because it's pretty challenging, actually. Like right from the beginning, it's pretty challenging, which I liked, because like there is a mode to make the battles easier, but I wasn't going to do that because I didn't want to just blow through this thing. There's a solid chunk of content to that thing. Enough to imagine it being sold as like a $10 DLC otherwise. So you can kind of throw that on top of, that there's arguments to be made as to whether or not such an old game, even though it's a remaster, being sold at full price. But it basically included all of the quality of life things from the 3DS port, as well as more quality of life things, more content, some from the 3DS port, some exclusive, and then that new chapter. So it's not just like... Also, as far as character models go, I believe the character models were rebuilt from the ground up. I think a lot of the environments were just scaled up. There are some places where it can be a bit polygony, as far as like, like valleys, instead of having smooth structures, some very sharp flat angles. But the textures on those angles look better. So they didn't like... I think they may have smoothed over some of the more story important areas, like the different towns and stuff like that, but like they didn't take the time to polish every single little corner. And this is more obvious when you play the bonus chapter, because you can tell that's built entirely with, like that's an entirely new area built from the ground up in the, I'm guessing, advanced version of the engine that is. I don't know what engine it's in. But I can imagine. I'm pretty sure the original came out in like 2006, 2007 or something like that, and the Definitive Edition only came out a year or two ago. I think it came out sometime in 2020. Maybe not. Maybe it was a little. Maybe it was 2019, the tail end of 2019. I know I didn't get it until last Christmas. And looking back at the original models, I can understand people maybe not necessarily liking a new anime-esque style, but one, I think it's in line with the original designs because one, you look at Shulk in Smash, and that's basically what he looks like in this game, and everyone else matches that art style. So I think, the argument can be made that's what Monolith Soft pretty much wanted to do from the beginning, but for whatever reason couldn't accomplish it on the Wii. Because this was originally a Wii game. I'll also argue that while the original models, while it seems like the original model design was going for a slightly more realistic look, in the same way Twilight Princess was, like with it's like a fantasy art style, but meaning to look a little more stark than cartoonish anime or whatever. But it's the same argument that you make when you hold Wind Waker and Twilight Princess up next to each other, or even going back before Wind Waker and, well, no, that kind of just reinforces my point. I was going to say Wind Waker and Majora's Mask, but Majora's Mask almost holds up better artistically. You could argue that Majora's Mask holds up better artistically than Twilight Princess because it has more of a style. You can absolutely make that argument with Wind Waker, to the point where the HD remaster, it pretty much just added better lighting. That's, as a matter of fact, the whole remake of that game came from them just testing out, I think it was Breath of the Wild's lighting engine on Wind Waker, or at the very least just, a better lighting engine on Wind Waker. And just that made it look so modern and so good that they just kind of went back, up-res the textures so that they wouldn't look stretched in higher def resolutions. Fixed the HUD for widescreen, adjusted Tingle because that connectability wasn't, and then made some quality of life adjustments to the game, but visually they hardly did anything, just upscaled it because it had such a strong art direction. And that's one of the things where some parts of Xenoblade Chronicles still kind of show their age. Models and cutscenes look really, really good. There's really good shine on them. Some of the outfits can look a little off, and for certain, not all of the outfits were designed with every single character animation in mind. And by that I mean, you put big pants on someone who doesn't normally wear big pants. If they put their hand on their knee, it's going to go through the big pants. And that's just going to be a thing you have to deal with. This was widely apparent when my one of the nice things that I can't remember if I think it did. What is the way cosmetic items work in this game is once you pick up an item that has a certain cosmetic type, you just unlock that cosmetic type. For example, Xenoblade Chronicles X fell short of this because you had to physically have the item to equip it into a cosmetic slot. I want to say if the original Xenoblade Chronicles had cosmetics, that's how it worked as well. But with this, it's just like once you acquire an item with a specific style, you have that style now. Period. You can sell the gear; it doesn't matter. Which is great, honestly. That's that's kind of the way cosmetics should work, especially in single player games. You know. If you Because like you do still have to own the item. You can't just like see it in a shop or whatever, and then let's say once you own an item with the style, you always have it. Period. Anyhow, I'm tired and I have a shopping trip tomorrow, so I'll catch you all later. Tomorrow even. Good night.